For regular cups,
Is this a paper cup or something? Where are those?
the bottom fat drawer,
Oh, okay.
there's, yeah, the bottom,
Very bottom.
yep.
Yeah. So I have the meeting, obviously, since we're passing some resolution here, I figured that we'll have this be an actual meeting.
Okay, then this afternoon's Oregon Town Board meeting will come to order. Can you, Jennifer, you do the roll call
Carl Walzer,
here?
Lori Fitzgerald here, and then Arlen Kai is absent, Steve Jernigan
Here,
and Tim LeBron.
here. And we still have a quorum and all those things, so that's, we can work within this situation. All right, there are two sets of minutes in here, October 8th and October 15th. If you hadn't had a chance to look at those, please take a peek, and then I'm looking for any comments, edits, or a motion to approve both.
Sorry, they were last minute. There are two from our work sessions that we did.
Right.
I move approval of the minutes from the two work sessions, from the one board meeting and one work session, I should say.
Can I get a second on that?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes. Thank you. And then item 4 is, I think everybody, it looks like the payment voucher packet made it all the way around. If I could get an approval for the payment vouchers.
Move to approve the payment vouchers.
Thank you. Here a second. Second. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes. Thank you.
I see we paid $12.5 for the park trail, park.
Yeah, and there was a $500, so it was 13,000 total.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
13,000.
yeah, the 500 was the deposit.
Ah,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
Okay.
And then this will be our last month for the, I called today, they haven't called back for the copy machine.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay. All right, thank you. Item 5 is on the third, fourth page. Nope, that's a lot. That's not great. Next last couple of us. This is the Belleville document, resolution. Third page from the back. We were talking about this 2 minutes ago, so that's the situation. And we're looking for approval, or sorry, motion on this too.
And again, this is CPI plus 2%.
And I do not know the dollar amount that the town could take. I did reach out to Gabe and asked him, and he has not gotten back to me. Again, this came,
Little late,
yeah, it came,
very late.
yeah, it came very late, so.
I move to approve the resolution from the Joint Fire Department, Belleville Fire District.
Okay, can I get a second on that?
Second.
Lori seconds. Any discussion on this at all? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion passes. Thank you.
I do have one quick question, actually. The Joint Belleville Fire District is now quote unquote independent from the EMS district. Is that correct? In Belleville?
I think they have always been independent. I
Okay.
think that they have always been.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
They have independent books.
Yes,
So I mean,
but this is a
Yeah,
fire
we-
district
Mhm.
resolution and doesn't affect the EMS district? Or this is part, the EMS is
This
part of
does.
this?
No.
this is
It's not.
fire.
It is not.
Okay.
It is separate, yeah. So Oregon is fire and EMS.
Mhm.
I don't quite understand Brooklyn. It's like they're together, but yet separate.
Yes.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
have
yeah,
separate budgets,
yeah, right,
separate,
yeah, yeah.
leadership.
But these guys are completely separate, like two
Okay.
separate, like
Got it.
two separate websites, two separate.
So are we expecting another resolution from Belleville with regards to the E EMS?
I would say no, I mean, this is so late that I can't even believe that people, like, we already have our statements out.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't,
All right, just curious.
yeah.
I feel like it's very up in the air
Yeah,
now, especially since they're in a contract with Blair's and there's discussion about something else, so. I think there's some
Flux going on there, yeah.
I didn't know this one was happening. And seems very late to me,
Mhm.
so.
Got it.
Mhm. All right, then item 6. Is related to the $121,000 dollar note.
This was the one that we passed last time, and if you want to look in the packet that I gave you up to the side where the front of it is the budget summary. And if you want to turn the page, that's the loan that if you turn it over, and I'm sorry that it's so tiny print. I didn't quite realize that when I printed it, but
And this is our 1 year.
yes, this is a
borrowing.
1 year.
It all pays with interest
Yeah.
a year from now.
Yeah, and so if you look on that second page of that with the orange, that 121, what the board decided, so that's the OFED capital, the Belleville capital. It was the tort container, and capital outlay, and then the public works equipment, yeah. Would have been included in that, so that's what's included in that loan for, looking for that resolution. for that.
Do we by habit pay for that as we get the money, or do we literally wait until the end of the year
For what's that?
to make this payment?
The OFED capital, they bill us, and I would have to look at the agreement, how they bill us.
I mean, the note.
The Lake Ridge.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, usually it's a year, so I think
This is a year.
Yeah, this, so
We
it's a
just
year,
paid
yeah,
last year.
yeah. we just
I
paid.
mean, the one for this year, like the payment just went.
That usually, how I usually, they do prorate or will give us a deal. I wait until like we get all of our tax dollars.
Yes.
And then we have some shared revenue that comes like November 15th, but I like to pay it. And sometimes I'll try to pay it so that we can save some interest if we have money.
Yeah.
So I try to pay it not quite so that I can save some interest. So I usually email him and say, hey, how much if I pay it by? Like I do it toward the board meeting date,
Yeah.
like when we can do it towards the board meeting date.
Great.
So I usually try to do it after we get all, like, so our taxes, when I work it out with Stephanie, when our taxes come.
Sure.
And and a board meeting date. So I try to pay it early after our tax revenues come. Cause that's really what we're collecting, the tax revenues are what's paying this.
And is that as
So-
we get our tax revenues in January, or as we get our tax revenues?
No,
at
the
end of
second
July?
installment.
Yeah, the second installment,
Oh.
2nd of July. So, but it's like when the county starts to pay us, which is usually like towards September. So
Okay.
that's why we're wrapping it up.
I
So
get it.
that's why, so usually around October is when I'm trying to like say, hey, we've got all of our tax dollars. And at that time, and so I try to pay by that day.
Okay,
So whenever we have all of our tax dollars, I figured that's the time so that I can save as much interest as I can.
got it.
So that's why when I say, hey, we get low on funds,
Mhm.
that's
Yes,
that's why we're getting low on funds, but
I got you.
that's why we try to push all of our big payments out. Cause our big payments, like our loans, to Bureau of Public Lands, they come in March. So they're all at the
Okay.
very beginning of the year.
Okay,
And so
those are the payments we make then.
Yeah, so we haven't even gotten all of our tax revenues by the time, and we haven't even gotten all of our shared revenues or, we don't get all of those funds. So then this is why we wait this one till the end of the year. So then as soon as we get all of our funds, then I try to pay that one. So that's how.
Just so we get it on our radar, our mental radar more than anything, I was talking to our road and traffic safety chair in a special board meeting. And there are some bridges that need to be assessed this next year.
Mhm.
You probably know, Lori. And those are expensive assessments.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Was that based on the communication that was just a week or so
That could be.
ago? Because there was something that came out, a list of.
And so we may spend $30,000 to $50,000 on that assessment. And I'm like, ooh, maybe we should have put that in the borrowing package this year. But
Well,
just so it's on our radar for this next year, for 26.
would we borrow for an assessment though, I wonder, that seems,
I think we could, yeah, because I mean, it sounds like something we're not doing all the time, right?
It is not.
Yeah,
something
yeah,
we
no,
do
so
all
if
the
we're
time.
doing it, if it's just a, like, it's not a,
And it's
it's
a
not an
big number.
operate,
It is-
not an operating expense, meaning it's not something we're doing all the time.
Right.
I would look at something, like the striping. I understand that we want to look at that as being an operating expense, but it's not really an operating expense that can also be borrowed for the striping.
I think so
We
too,
didn't-
because you
We
can,
didn't.
you can say, here's
this
the,
year, but-
here's the life of that
Mhm.
work.
Right.
Yeah.
Tie
Yeah.
into the life.
Which may
Yeah.
not be very long, actually, I mean.
Yeah.
maybe 3 years or something like
But
that.
that could get wrapped into
I
borrowing
think it's
too.
5 to 7.
Okay.
That's
so
what that
that's-
means
For striping,
for your.
yeah, for like the life of, when
Duration.
you have to redo it. When you have to redo it, maintenance on it. Cause I was just reading through that when I was putting together the newsletter for stripe, like I'm adding striping, I was like, what do I say about it?
Yeah,
So then I was looking at the 5-year plan and all of the things, and I think in there it said 5 to 7 years.
yeah. Makes sense.
I mean, and we talked about that stuff, and I hated to sort of, the term leave money on the table is not the term that I want to use, but it's the only term that I could say when we didn't add the money from the fire department onto the levy this year, but it was just trying to keep that increase to 2.9.
Yes, and I think that's good. I mean, based on the discussion before, I think that's a good number.
Yes,
Yeah,
You know,
Okay.
Yeah,
103%.
yes,
Just
for
it
sure.
sounds better.
I agree.
right, and if there was time, or if, I shouldn't say time, but if there was a different goal in mind, we could have then reduced the amount of borrowing, but it's basically like we're doing it all anyways. So the 12,000 either would have been taken, maybe we didn't borrow as much,
yeah,
It's-
yeah.
It's like, it's kind of comes out in the wash, as long as we want to stay to a range of what it would go up.
It's always hard because you're kind of at the crunch time, because you have to get the notices out, because you have to be 15 days before the public hearing. You have to get the notices out, the budget summary, so.
And everybody's leaning forward, waiting to see after the assessment changes.
Right.
What does
Oh.
that really mean for me?
Right.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
what's the real number?
Yeah.
Right.
So if you look, we can finish the resolution, sorry.
Yeah, let's, question though.
Yeah.
So this is already executed.
We still need to.
We still need
it.
to approve.
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so I'll be looking for a motion to approve this resolution. Move for $121,000 loan.
Bruce Lane here. Okay, I move to approve resolution number 62025, resolution authorizing the borrowing of $121,000 general obligation promissory note and levying a tax in connection therewith.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Any seconds, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion passes. Thank you.
I was just going to say that, if you look on back on that budget summary, we don't have in the box in the middle of the town mill rate box. We don't have the final assessed values yet. So that's the hard part. We're going based on, what the numbers were put out in August, but you can see the assessed valuation went to 749. So that's taken into account that we were having a reval. So 495 was what it was at. It went up to 794. So our mill rate would go to 1.83. So it was at 2.68. It would go to 1.83. So it would go down. But I don't know that will be the final
That's- it's
number,
still, yeah.
right? I don't know that will be the final number
Right,
until we have but then the rest of that will just be like, that's the 2025 budget to the 2026 budget, and those are all the numbers that. That's basically what comes from your big sheet of paper here that gets filled in there.
Mhm.
I don't think I'll plan to be here obviously on November 10th. There's no requirement at the budget hearing that you go through this line by line.
I was gonna ask you, so let's talk about that in the meeting instead of after the meeting.
Sure.
Because what I was thinking of, so we're not gonna do a presentation. I thought about it for like 5 minutes and I
Yeah.
thought,
Mhm.
And people, that's available publicly already,
Yeah.
or will be the final.
It's
what are the final?
online. It's
Yeah.
online already. It's on our website.
So what I'm thinking is that I might do just sort of a little, really short segment of talking about some of the concepts we embraced in order to get the numbers. You know, stuff that will, like keeping it under a certain percentage,
Mhm.
or paying our loans faster than
Mhm.
we would really have to, or anything like that. And really focusing like, this particular year is a heavy roads year, next year, not so much, and getting some structure behind things. I don't wanna go line by line at all.
Yeah.
No.
But I think it's okay that it's different than previous years.
I agree.
Because if somebody's really interested, they can look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
then we can open it, and then we're gonna open it up to
Questions and
questions.
comments, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be super short. I really anticipate talking for 3 minutes,
Mhm.
let's say.
Cause I mean, the previous board meetings or previous budget, they would go, all they would do was read it line by line. That's it. And it was like, that's all. I mean, it was like, I don't think you're getting anything out
Not
of it.
super useful.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, you can't.
You don't even know, like Stephanie will say like, I didn't even know what was in that line.
Right,
Right.
and I tell you stuff all the time,
Yeah.
but when you say things like general plant, nobody here knows what goes in there,
Right.
only really Jennifer and who, we here decide, where those what that means to
Right.
them.
Right,
So then you have to go and be like, sometimes I have to ask Jennifer, where do we put this?
right.
Yeah.
In what account, so they don't really know what any of those line items mean, except for the real obvious ones, like salaries, or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
like, really, they don't know them specifically.
And I'd say too, the board has spent hours on it, right?
Yeah.
Not as many hours as both of you have. But I wouldn't feel comfortable going line by line for exactly that reason, right?
Know that I would. I mean, I have, but
And they can't, and then I think what happens is that I can tell you past experience, they get hung up on a line.
Yeah.
Yes,
And the thing is that we can't get hung up on a line because first of all, they don't have control over the budget. They have control over the levy, which
Right.
the levy is, you kept it at 2.9. And that's all they have control over. So you present the budget, but you guys are the only ones that approve the budget. So there's a presentation of the budget and all the residents are approving the levy. That's it. So it's really kind of a mistake to go line by line on the budget. It's really just, it's the category totals. It's what you're
Mhm.
spending in each category.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I guess, that's where I would. I think this is a good year, especially if I'm not there, to move away from going line by line in the budget.
Stephanie, will you be here?
Mhm.
Okay, great.
And I just think then that would be just a time to say, and you can talk, I mean, I talked a little bit last year about the specials for the garbage and recycling. I think this might be the first year that the landfill charge might be on there, but
well, we can say that it went from last year with all of the charges, it was 168.44 or something like that. And I know it was 168, but I don't know the cents on the dot.
Yeah.
And then this year it's 176
yeah,
and some change.
yeah.
So for the
So
month, for the
there's-
year annual.
So there's a little bit of an
everybody.
increase of the garbage and recycling this year.
Which every
So,
year
I
there's a
mean,
little bit
if
of
you
an
wanted
increase
to
in
mention that as well.
I don't really wanna get
Okay.
into the weeds like that,
Okay,
because I think
that would be
nobody
the
will,
only other thing.
I think nobody
that I just
next
thought.
week will notice it.
Okay.
They won't have seen it yet, right?
Okay,
So.
No,
we'll
we're
talk
just
about-
doing that now.
We can talk about it next year.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
somebody has concerns about it, but I think it makes a lot of sense to just get back to the basics, like whatever is legally required. We do that. The presentations were great, but that's above and beyond, and
Right.
it's sometimes an audience of like 2 people or 4
Mhm.
people, and that's a lot of work.
right, yeah,
For that, for a very, very small audience.
get away from reading the budget, that's what,
right.
the presentation was getting
Yeah.
away from reading the budget, so that, but like now you have an opportunity to kind of do something even different, which I think is.
Right. Well, here's the
So-
thing too, is all the budget meetings were posted,
Yeah.
open meetings, people could have come.
Yeah.
They could have had some influence maybe on
Mhm. Yeah.
what we're talking
Sure.
about, but
Yes.
at this
Kind
meeting,
of-
zero, you're really zero influence.
And we were talking about the other day, these are available, it's on the website and it's here for people to pick up, so
Yeah.
we've noticed that. And, the mill rate itself, that 1.83, I don't even know on November 10th, because we're still waiting for the DOR to
Equal.
finalize our equalized value.
Right.
And we don't know when they will do that, and it might not be on November 10th. I mean, so that's, we still don't know what the actual mill rate will be.
Mhm.
So
That's-
even like the school district, they've approved theirs and they've told us. We just don't know because we have to wait on the Department of Revenue. That's the way that kind of works. So we don't know what their tax bill will be, unfortunately. That's what I'm saying. So we all approve our budget, but we don't hold up approving our budgets.
Right.
Or we don't hold up approving our levy
Mhm,
until we know our equalized value. That's what determines your tax bill.
mhm.
That's what the Department of Revenue, that's where they play their hand.
So when you sent us the school stuff, when I was looking
Yeah.
through it, did they give us their mill rate?
They give us they just
They
give us.
just give us the
they
numbers,
just give us
right?
the
Cause I read
numbers.
through
Yeah.
it and I was like, I didn't
Yeah.
really see it.
They don't
We
give us
still
the
have to
mill
put
rate
it in
because
there.
they don't give us our mill rate because we calculate the mill rate once we know equalized value.
Right.
Then that determines the
Right.
rate.
Yeah, there
So
was
they
this-
give us our levy and then we get the mill rate once
Yeah.
that, so.
Okay,
But we
this
now
seems
just
like a
wait
good
for the
plan.
Department of Revenue.
Doesn't, the three of you, do you want, I mean, technically it's not a board meeting, but you could chime in if you wanted to, if you wanted to talk about any particular parts of the budget, anything related to that, that's a general, like, here's why we're focusing on this in 2026, or you don't have to, you absolutely don't have to, but if you want to, there'd be some time available for you to do it. So you don't have to answer now, but just something to think about,
Well,
like any projects that you were particularly involved in, something like.
going back to the audience of 4 or 6, would there be anything that would be worth just pulling out 1 or 2 things that someone who is paying attention might notice are markedly different or lower would be good, but is there any point in just, because sometimes when you pick out some things to talk about, that offsets that nitpicking on other things that where people just go cherry pick and then they want to find something to comment on,
Mhm.
but maybe it's sort of piggybacking on what Carl was saying. Just to give an overview of sort of how we made the decisions that we made and what we're doing with the loans and all that. That's good. But if it comes down to this, where I think sometimes people, like 1 year, people fixated on our legal fees, remember that?
Right.
Yep.
And it was really like another, I'm still trying to understand budgeting, but I do remember from my time at MATC, at the end of the year, it would be like in July, because our fiscal year ended in July. Everybody would go around and say, hey, do you need any office furniture, or do you need this, or because there was this money that didn't get used.
Right.
And then practice was to always move the money, we didn't, this is really just an estimate about how much we'll need. It's not a guarantee.
Right.
So, but would there be a point and just say, please do take the time to look over this as carefully as you would like. Just a couple things to point out that might be a little different this year.
Yeah.
Higher or lower. And then kind of, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it just seems like to be sort of like I never like that word proactive, but I think that's what I'm saying is just kind of give people some stuff to look at that's positive.
Yeah, I think we should highlight just 3 things.
Yeah.
I think we should highlight the road work that we did, which
Yeah.
was the highest and the most we've spent on road work in a long time, but it's a whole
But
neighborhood
it's needed.
that hasn't been done for 50
And
years.
nobody's been complaining about it.
Right, so we find that as a huge success. I think on
Break
page,
ourselves up a bit, isn't it?
it's their money. So here's how we were careful with their money.
But we're showing you how, yeah,
Yes,
we tried to be as careful as possible, but you all know from doing your own budgets at home how challenging that
yes, for
is.
sure.
And I think just saying simple things like that, rather than just kind of throwing it out there for them to look at.
So I think that's one thing, is the road work.
Mhm. I think
And
supporting.
the
fire and EMS.
extraordinary,
I mean,
Mhm.
yeah,
I think the fire and EMS is really
I
important.
mean, you look at the big infrastructure and safety security, and
Yeah.
those are the huge expenses in our budget.
I
It's always
think
gonna
on
be that
page
way.
3 of the budget, we had budgeted $300,000 for equipment this year. And we canceled the order for that one truck. I
That's
think that's
important.
important. I think it's important for people to understand that. Our people take really good care of their our equipment. And there really isn't a need to replace it in a schedule like we anticipate.
Too aggressive.
Yeah. And then the last thing, I think the assessor's report. And that in the past, we've been on a 5-year
Yes.
cycle, and this year
That's huge.
was a shocker
Yeah.
to lots of people. And we have moved to
Every other.
1 year or every other year cycle to cushion that blow a little bit.
And
I
then
think
you
that's-
get
I think
it
that's big.
all out, it's all out in the room
Yeah,
now, we're not
right.
trying to hide behind.
Right.
any of it.
And so I think those are 3 things that we can point to as line items in the budget. To say there's this, this, and this.
Mhm.
Because everything else is gonna be little tiny
Yeah,
things.
small dollar.
And I think you
Small,
can, you can
relatively small.
point to that, even just looking at the budget summary, you could point to that where like, if you looked at the change, like proceeds from long-term debt, you could say, you know what, we're not taking out a ton of long-term debt because we did that. We did that, you know, in 26, and you can look at the decrease in the public works budget, you can say, hey, yeah, we're not taking out for much equipment, we're not taking out for the road work, you know, we're not, this would match up with what you're saying, what
Yep.
Tim's saying,
Yep.
like, it's an every other year cycle,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. I mean, I think that really,
I think you don't necessarily even have to go to the line by line if you don't want to, you can also just point it out by saying some of those decreases, when Lori was saying, where can you see the big decreases? And if you just look at the percentage, you can say, oh, there's a 42% decrease in public works. So why would you spend 42% less? Well, we're not doing a huge road work budget. We're not doing a huge purchasing a new.
and I think it's important, it shows an awareness of the impact on people's taxes.
I do think we need to give them 2 or 3 things to be aware of for the near future too.
Yeah,
I think
that's
the Oregon Fire
Yes.
District
Right,
is a
right.
evolving topic. And that has a significant impact on our budget. I think that we are now on our 3rd year of a flat senior center assessment.
Mhm.
And everybody has heard, they are anticipating the first bids on that senior center. They're anticipating a $21 million senior center.
I saw that somewhere.
What?
That,
It is
Well,
breathtaking.
it's gonna have a huge gymnasium for the entire community to enjoy.
this is-
It's there's gonna have to be some a lot of discussion about that. So that's the second thing.
yeah,
I think that we need to get it out there that,
Wow.
just so you know,
That's
we've got a
coming.
3-year flat assessment from the senior center, and everybody has heard about the plans that are evolving for the new senior center, and that is bound to have an effect on the town.
Yeah.
And then one other thing, one other thing do we see on the horizon?
Caution type of.
Is it a new town center?
Yeah, maybe.
uh,
It depends on how we wanna spin that. That, we've had discussions now for X amount of time about the potential of relocating our operations.
I think that's fair to include.
Yeah.
My first reaction, like 15 seconds ago, was like, no,
Yeah,
don't talk about But no, I think it's fair to include that.
Yeah.
Although now I'm still hesitant because I haven't gone back to the vision survey to check that question and answer and what the
Yeah.
results were. I don't remember how it was balanced. I don't know if it was 50-50 or one way or the other, but I think that's fair.
But it's logical. I mean, you can't, even the vision survey, it's like, you just have to be logical. We're sitting on Village.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to be
don't-
proactive whether or not the
They
vision
really don't.
survey says.
Know the whole reason why we would kind of not be forced out, but basically be forced out,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
So that's a potential that's gonna happen, but they don't know that. So just based on us asking them questions, it's like they don't know the reality of we're in the middle of the village and at any time they can come to us. And might come soon
And they are growing.
to buy us out, to move us, basically.
And so maybe on the historical perspective, you know, here are some things that didn't happen this year and here's why they didn't happen, like the plow truck. But we did, and we did our vision survey, which is going to give us lots of things to talk about. One of those things is a potential move of our town operations to a new
Yeah.
town center.
Mhm.
And just be broad
For
about
these
it.
reasons.
I think it's
Yeah.
good to tie that in with the vision project,
Yes,
because that did get a lot of positive feedback,
for sure.
at least in the Oregon Observer.
Yes.
But
There
it'd
you
be
go.
nice
That's the
to
road.
kind of get the buy-in that these are things the citizens are asking for too. It isn't just our decision. What we
Right.
can't, these people have these ideas about what they want in the community.
Yeah.
And they have to work with us and they have to be more alert to what we're dealing with too, if they want these things to happen.
Right.
So I think it's kind of a little bit of an education piece, right?
So when we get to the meeting next week, if I don't know if people have questions or not, but if there is discussion, then I feel free to chime in with what you're saying now, because we'll just make it be sort of open discussion anyway.
Well, one of the things I want to say is that I want the town to know how grateful we are for all the work that Stephanie and Jennifer do throughout the year to guide us and keep us on track. And, you know, all these challenging and preparing the budget is just one big example of all that they do for us. I think that would be, something I would like to say.
Very appropriate.
This stuff doesn't happen just by magic,
Right.
you know. Well, it does, they're the.
It's magical.
But it's not magic.
It's kind of like Christmas, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like Christmas for your whole family. I don't know who does that, but there's sometimes
But I mean-
Christmas presents under the tree.
Every
Moms do that.
But I can't believe if all of this detail, Jennifer takes us through it. And you know, it goes through it and it's a lot.
And it's not just the budget,
No, but that's one
like
example.
Monday through Friday, and then also Saturday and Sunday,
One example.
2 a.m. for some people. So.
I think knowing the actual percentage of the town's budget and levy that the fire and EMS of all of
That is
combined.
so.
I think you guys all being confident
Oh, we
with
can
that
do that.
number, because I'm not confident with that number,
And
but
I
having it,
don't have that, but I can do the
Right.
math.
we could do the
Yeah.
math for them, so
Sure.
then we can just, so they can be confident in saying like, it's 60% of our whole
Right.
budget,
And
it's
that's-
90, you
And,
know.
and, yeah,
Or OFED is this, Brooklyn is this.
Yeah.
Belleville
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
this.
I mean, in total, because I just don't think that they realize that that's majority of the township's
Yeah.
levy. Like,
Yeah.
it's majority of it.
Yeah.
And that's something that, yes, we have this little bit of control over, you have this little bit of control over, and you're working very hard to make sure you're involved in all of those things.
yeah.
But it's also not something when they're coming here and they're just looking at the town board. To see, you know, what kind of new bells and whistles you're getting, you're like, most of it's already for your
Yeah.
protection.
Yes,
Right,
right,
right.
And it's not really a choice.
Yeah.
You can't
It's
say,
not a-
No,
we
it's not.
can't.
It's not discretionary.
Oh, yeah,
Right,
we
it's
can
not
just be like,
discretionary.
no, we're not gonna be a part of the fire defense, like,
Right.
you have to have something.
That brings up Dane County. Jerry Bollig stopped by and asked about us getting, I told him we had 4 hours of Dane County. He sometimes is confused and he's like, I thought you were getting 20 hours. We've never gotten 20 hours of Dane
Dane County
County.
Sheriff.
Never,
Done.
never. We used to, many years ago, we used to contract through the Oregon Fire or Oregon Police. Never before have we gotten Dane County services. This was the first time. So Jerry was confused. We may have gotten 20 hours of Oregon Police Department, and that was prior when, many years ago, I can't think of what the, police chief in Oregon was. And then they just sort of buckled down the hatches and said, hey, we're not doing this anymore. We don't want to deal with that. We don't have the officers. We're not going to do that. And so then the town kind of went without until we went
Couple years
back,
ago.
right, went back, right. So, but now there's that big uproar because of the county and the sheriff's department and the budget that's going on up there.
Yes.
So the only thing that I could say is if you might potentially get some people in here for the budget. I've heard nothing. We've heard nothing.
Okay.
So.
I mean, I've heard a buzz in the world, that's for sure, not from our own residents.
Exactly.
correct?
Nobody's called here. Nobody sent emails. Nobody sent anything about Dane County Sheriff's Department and called us.
Okay.
That's what I just want to pass along.
Okay.
But Jerry stopped by and asked. And I asked him, do you want us to send a letter? Did you need anything? And he said, no. And it sounds like their budget should be worked out. Should be worked out or is going to be shortly.
Maybe soonish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, and I said, you know, we did the vision. I don't know that we've gotten any feedback that more than 4 hours is needed, but it's not saying that it wouldn't be in the future or that the board wouldn't consider it, but they're not in 2026.
Right.
Okay,
So that was all I told him and that was it.
okay.
But, so
Okay.
that would be the only other thing that I would say that might be,
That might come up that
Yeah.
we should know a little bit.
but I don't even
But the
know.
facts are the facts and
Yeah.
we contract for 4 hours.
Yep, and it's 1 4-hour block at a time in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't.
It's not much.
And I don't see a report for that specific 4 hours, so I don't know.
What
What do they
they're
do?
doing,
I was just gonna say, I have no clue like what
Right.
happens in those 4 hours.
or how many
Right.
speeders they.
Or-
That's probably what they're doing is
Right.
just.
So I'd say the only other thing we would
Monitoring.
ask is that at some point, if somebody wants to ask that, I did ask Haley to come in back to the annual meeting,
Yep.
so, and she said she'd do that.
Yep, I saw that.
And that is our supplemental police
Yeah,
services.
Exactly,
Which we spend $5,000 or $6,000 a year on,
Mhm.
per year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
so
But
so,
again,
There's a.
that's your safety and your protection budget too, right? That's part of that.
Sure.
So-
Yeah, that's low dollars and there's a contract though, isn't, do we know when? that
we did,
comes?
yeah.
How
Is it annual? Does it come up?
I think it's always, it never
Self-
expires, it self-renews every year, so we look at it,
annually
yep,
look
yep.
at it.
Yep, I think I put it in one of the packets, it might be in your October packet,
Okay.
yeah, and it just kind of self-renews and, you know, then,
Until
it, and so you always have an opportunity to look at it if you wanted to, I think that survey probably would tell you wanted more hours, or you need more if you wanted to do more hours, but that,
Right,
we did that, and then it was sort of to offset, hey, I think we were paying the constable, say, 6,000 a year. You know, so it was sort of like, hey, we're gonna just change
We were
these
paying
dollars.
that,
Yeah.
we'll pay it this way. instead.
Yeah.
his availability was also,
Exactly, and
Not
he couldn't
changing,
write
yeah.
tickets, he didn't, we would have to pay, you know, like,
Oh, the court also. So
Right.
like when you use Dane County, we use Dane County court system. When you use your constable, you have to use Oregon's court.
and then you'd have to pay for that,
Yep.
and it was kind of a thing, so it was like, this was just more of like. And I think it was really just servicing the residents that were having the speeding problems, where we would say, hey, can you target this? So.
yeah, I don't think there's any harm and I don't think there's a big impact on the budget at all,
Yeah.
so.
So I mean, if there was, the board could always consider, you know, getting more hours.
There may be items like that that somebody could bring up that are sort of pet
Yeah.
budget
Yes.
items.
Yeah.
But we can't prep for, you know,
Something you'd
200 different
you'd have to add it on to, you'd have to consider it. Unfortunately, there's only so many dollars to work. Now, like Tim was saying though, Laura, if there are things you can borrow next year, you can
Oh.
borrow next year. It's just not gonna go on to the levy.
right,
This year, you would just be paying, you'd get the money, you'd just be paying it, you'd be paying the money the next year, which is, that's totally fine. That's
Yeah.
usually all people do borrow.
That's how they.
Well, that's what Lauren was saying earlier,
Yeah.
it's an estimate, it's, you know, it's
Yeah.
not, we can't
Yeah.
live by every dollar in here.
Yeah, yeah, there are things that might come up you have to borrow for, but.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
that's the only other thing I could think was the police services.
Cause it is a hot item in the world right now, that's for sure. In Dane County, like it's
Yeah.
being talked about quite a bit.
Cause that's where they're getting money from, to
Yep.
fill holes
And they're,
elsewhere.
yeah, and they're trying to, Dane County's trying to cut their budget and then they'll have to cut staff, so.
Mhm.
Right.
Or it's like unfilled staffs, I don't know,
Right,
unfilled staff positions that have to,
right.
but nobody wants to take anything out of their budget, cause then how would they ever get it back?
Yeah, it's rough.
But that does trickle down to us.
Absolutely.
And we'll see that trickling down to us as we're sitting in that land nav training. And it's like, oh, you'll be doing this. Oh, you'll be doing this. And you're sitting there, okay.
Oh, yeah, we've never done that before.
Okay, well, I guess, all right. So you're entering all your own lottery credits. Oh, okay. Okay, all right. Okay, so it does trickle down. It will trickle down and the things will start to trickle down. I said I would rather prick my finger and give blood instead of all of the, like, the software and the passwords to get into all of the things. I
And
would
collect
rather- yeah,
taxes, it's pretty,
Yeah.
we're,
Rather just
we have
give
a
you
new
my blood.
system this year and it'll be fine. It will be.
It will.
But logging in was crazy.
It's a nightmare.
And then when we went to training, everybody at training, so they had computers out, like I brought my computer, but we even tried on their computer and like
Connect.
everybody in the room, there was probably 30 of us, I'd say.
Yeah.
Nobody could log in.
No.
So like we were supposed to be doing, this is why we had to go there, because we were supposed to be doing like
And they all.
examples and activities
Yeah.
together, like, and have help, walk around help to see if we were doing it appropriately, but nobody was really able to do that.
Oh, no.
So it was the town of Dawn, it was the town of Pleasant Springs was us, and we're all like, yeah.
Yeah, we
What's-
got to ask a lot of cool
Back to the
questions.
Office and trying to do it in our
Yeah, we're like,
office.
guess we can't do this here.
What is it about the logins that is?
You have to get
is it
into
more
the Dane
like-
County site
Okay,
first.
sure.
And so that's like, you have to get into that first, then once you get into the Dane County site, then you
The
have to get
security is
into
crazy.
the software.
Okay,
So it's like getting into two,
okay.
and then there's security for both of them. And the actual, it's like bingo to your password. So like, instead of having like a key fob or something like that, which you might be used to, like,
We have
the
one
bank
for
or
the
something.
bank
Yeah,
that we click
this-
numbers on.
right. This one is like bingo. And so it's like D3. What's D3?
And that's how you get your
Oh.
code every time.
C7. You have to go 3 here.
Oh my gosh.
It's a grid.
Yeah, it's a grid. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And I'm like, who invented that?
So that's not the hard part, that's
It's-
okay, like, it's just different for us, but it was that. All of the credentials that they had given us to get into these things didn't work for anybody, so I set
Yeah.
mine up
Not
ahead of
us.
time. A lot of people who were at that training had done the same thing that I did, they weren't just ignoring the emails or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There was only like one other person. So they had already done it at home, at the office or whatever, and got in fine, and then when we got there, it was like, what, yeah, it was, nobody could get in.
Oh, that's weird.
I know,
Mhm.
it was nuts.
Wow.
So I was like, we could have done this from our offices.
Right.
We went there to do it.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the county help desk, and the
Mhm.
county treasurer doesn't,
Yeah, it's complicated, but it will all be
It
okay.
will be really nice though, because what will be very nice this year, and everything will be nice. Everything, there is is gonna be nice, is that you can print your property tax receipt. So it used to be an upload, but now it'll be real time. So you'll come in and pay your taxes, and then the
The
next day,
you can get your receipt.
you can get your
Oh.
receipt
Online
online.
yourself, like you
Yeah.
could go on Access Dane and then you'll have your receipt.
Yeah.
To get your receipt off of Access Dane before, if you paid in December,
You
you
can,
wouldn't get it until like January, you wouldn't be able to get access it till like January 7th. And then if you paid in January, you wouldn't be able to access it till February. So that, it does take pressure off of us a little bit. I think it will. I
Yeah.
think it will. Because a lot of people would ask us for emailed receipt, which that was great, like we loved that.
But
we
the
could do
system
that.
wasn't, it
but-
wasn't connected where you could do it. You'd have to do it very,
Correct, and those people who are okay with
Yeah.
receiving an electronic receipt, they're usually okay with going, oh, I can get it there. And going and getting it there,
Right.
and now they'll have access to it, so that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, that's,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good.
Well,
Oh,
I'm glad
there's
you're
good.
excited about it.
I'm not,
That's good enough for me.
it's gonna be okay.
it's gonna be- once we get there, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Just getting there is gonna be
Yes.
there, so, and people,
It'll be okay.
I think people will like it. Some people will like it.
Yeah.
Karen Roberts got her certified letter. I got
Oh,
a
good.
little card back in the mail.
Oh, good. We didn't hear from them, I assume.
So
Not so
that's
far.
what I got.
Anything else on the meeting? We can wrap it up. And after we wrap it up, I just wanna say something too.
Was that it? Resolution was the last thing on the,
Yep, well,
Agenda?
clerk's report, yeah,
but.
Well, that- I thought that's all I
You were
had,
just
yeah.
Rambling on about stuff, so.
that's, well, it counts as an agenda.
Yeah.
item. It's right there.
It's clerk's report.
Okay. anything
Check
else?
mark.
All right, without objection, we are adjourned. Very good.
I think I have this one on here.